Let's see if we're live. Got it. I believe we're live in the
we
show.
live.
We are live. Let's see. How's everyone doing today? We are live. How's everyone doing today?
What's going on, people?
That is me. Come say what up in the comment section below. Okay, let me lower this down. Come say what up in the comment section below. Hope everyone's having an amazing Monday. I know I am. Devyn, how are you doing this Monday, sir?
This Monday, for Mr. Devon's been pretty good. I had a pretty good weekend.
Nice.
Just relaxed. I found this a couple new trails on the weekend where I live. Where I am right now, it's like right near the Grand River.
Nice.
So I usually go one way, like to the right when I leave my place, and on the weekend I went left, and there's completely different forests and trails, and there's really cool places by the river. So I spent a lot of time out in the wilderness this weekend, but it felt good.
Nice. Yeah, very good. No, I definitely had a relaxing weekend as well. And I'm actually watching this show called Ballers. I don't know if you've ever watched that show before.
I've heard it. I heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, what a great show, man. Just like talks about, well, I guess one of the biggest things about it is like a mix of like how to respond during negotiations. Cause like The Rock is the main character, and he's like a financial advisor for football players. And then he tries to expand his business, whether it's real estate or other deals. And it's cool. Like, things will go completely wrong and he'll somehow figure it out. And I think it's very inspiring, even for myself, to be like, obviously the show does a really good job of cliffhangers, of like, you think everything's falling apart and then he'll figure it out. And I think I can relate to that, because at times it's like you're going through life, things are not working out as planned. And I think for some people, they just give up. They kind of just look at their current reality and just give up that. And I think one of the most powerful attributes someone can have is persistence, and really just showing up over and over and over again, and being creative with the solution of how to fix the problem. And I think that is the mindset. If you're watching this right now, that is really the mindset as a business owner, because that's kind of what he is at some level. He started off working for the firm, and then he worked his way up to becoming the boss and becoming a partner. But with that, you're not an employee. There's a level of creativity that's needed to figure out problems that come up. And I think that has inspired me. And really, I would say, the biggest job that is needed, that is the most important thing for the person running the ship, and just really everyone in general. So yeah, man, that was basically my weekend. Now, guys, if you're watching this on the replay, if you're watching this on the live, comment #live down below. If you're watching on the replay, comment #replay. Now, for this live, we are doing a training on how to acquire leads in 2022. Now, Devyn, let me ask you a question. Do you know how many people ask me, Daniel, the biggest challenge in my business is getting leads? Guess how many people ask me that, Devyn?
I think because we're doing a training on it, I would say damn near everybody.
Daniel, I have my program ready. I now have another one I hear is I now have my website up. Or if anything, I have my business card ready. Now, the biggest problem, or Daniel, I just got my certificate. I am ready to coach people now. Where are they? And I always laugh at this, because I would say that is a skill set that I've spent a good chunk of my life learning, the power of marketing and the power of sales, and overcoming that imposter syndrome. I'll give you guys a little story. When I first started in sales back in whatever it was, 2014, 2015, I felt like an imposter trying to convince someone or trying to sell someone to buy something, because I thought that I wasn't worthy enough. So I'd bring that energy to the door. Now, lucky for me, and this is what I believe everyone should have, is a support group around them. So for me, I had my sales team. I had my manager, I had people, I had my mentor who kept me accountable on this goal to rewire my mindset to believe I was worthy for someone to listen to me and someone to actually buy from me. Does that make sense, Dev?
It absolutely does. Yeah. And thinking back too, like sales, like when we first started working together, when you were the director of the sales company, like, I'd never done sales. I was, working nights at Pure Later. Nick Pure Later was my nickname for a little while. And, I would have never thought I would have been able to stick it out doing door to door for a full year. But you're right, the culture that we had, it was just
Yeah.
like wins. It was like positivity. It was like, hey, even if you get your ass kicked, right? Sorry for the language, right? You get a zero that day. It's just like, well, how can you bounce back? Like, how quick can you bounce back? And so 100% agree.
Yeah. And so my point here is that I think a lot of people have to get over the idea of you're qualified enough.
Hmm.
And so that is my point, is you're qualified enough for someone to pay you. And then once you believe that, and I think maybe I'm talking to some people who are like, maybe I need to go get all these different things. It's the same idea with like business people. Well, I have to go get my bachelor's, I have to go get my business master's or my master's of business or whatever you want to call it before I can go and start a business. And what I want to remind you is you are ready now. Now, does that mean that if you have no expertise and no knowledge, then yes, then you are not ready. But what I am telling you is that for the majority of people, they usually know enough to get started. And a mantra, whatever you want to call it, that I usually use is I don't know it all, but I know enough. If you watch this on the replay, you can repeat this with me. I don't know it all, but I know enough. I don't know it all, but I know enough. Now, why am I talking about this before we kind of get into the marketing plan? Because the mindset has to be there of I don't know everything. And you will never probably know everything, but you know enough to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everyone is looking, and I really want to preface, like I really want to set the foundation of this training, because I think a lot of people go, well, I know myself. I know a lot of people. Well, I need X amount of information before I can take action. And then they learn that, X amount of information, but then I need more information.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to let you know is in the process of taking action, you will come to a place where you will learn the knowledge that is necessary. It's like the idea of having the perfect business plan. You could have the perfect business plan and you could prepare that perfect business plan for months and for years. And then guess what? You can execute it on day one, and within a week, the whole business plan changes. You guys get that? You can prepare the best. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with preparing for a speech. There's nothing wrong with preparing with what is the strategy I need to use to go into battle. I'm not saying that either, like you shouldn't have any plan. But what I am telling you is most of the time, if not all the time, you can build the perfect plan. It will usually change because what you have in your head is probably different than what's going to happen in reality. It's like going into war. A general can prepare a perfect plan. Things will come up, things will change, things he's not expecting. Now, a really, really good general, or whoever is creating the strategy for the army, or for whatever you want to call them, understands that there's going to be variables that will come up in worst case scenario. But I want to remind you, the principle here is you don't know it all, but you know enough. And when you come down to that conclusion, then I need to go take some action. And if we dig even deeper into this idea of why people are not taking action, because they're scared to fail and probably embarrass themselves. And once you get over that hump, right? And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because I really want to get your mindset in the right place, right? If you look at, and you can blame a lot of different reasons, but let's take the example of school, right? What happens when you fail the test? Boo, right? You feel bad. You get a bad grade. Maybe your parents got mad at you. The teacher said you weren't smart or you didn't feel smart. And so we are embedded with that concept of if I fail, this is a bad thing. And what I had to rewire within myself was failure is what, Devyn?
Is a good thing.
Is a good thing. Failure is how you actually get real, concrete feedback. Period. That's the only way of getting real feedback. You can read the books, you can watch the videos, you can get the help, you can do whatever you want to do. But until you go and get the feedback from the marketplace, then everything you're talking about is just theory. Now you go, well, Daniel, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is you need to go interact with people. That's really the only way. But Daniel, I want to have a perfect plan and a perfect script and know exactly what to say when I talk to them. No, you don't. You just show up in front of people's faces. I'll give you the example of door to door. At the beginning, I practiced my intro script hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I would write it down. I would practice it, write it down. I would say in the mirror, I'd record myself over and over. And I would be like, you know what, today I'm not going to talk to anyone. I just want to practice my script. Remember that, Devyn, back in the day when you first began?
Oh, yeah.
Today, I'm not going to talk to anybody. And then you go and give that script. Someone stops you 5 seconds in, we're not interested. Bye. You go, shoot, I got to go practice some more. Right. But then over time, what I realized was I set a different goal in my head. See, the goal initially was I want to have a perfect script. I want to know exactly what to say. I want to have a perfect scenario. And I hate to tell you, it's not how it works. How it works is you get your ass beat, you get back up, and you better your method. You want to add anything to that, Devyn?
You know, like, it's crazy that we're talking about this, and I love this as a topic because it's so true. Like, in order to do anything, like, you kind of have to have, the foundational kind of mindset first. And obviously, this applies to more than just business. Obviously, right now, we're talking about this for business owners because a lot of us are, coaching business owners or business owners at some level. But, I think about, and I may have talked about this before, but even when I used to play soccer, when I was at the peak, I was really phenomenal. A lot of people were like, envious of where I got to, but people don't see, the 5 to 6 years where I was atrocious, where I used to fall for no reason, where I was just getting bodied, like I would just get pushed because I was so weak. Like there were so many things that I had to learn and grow from, and like all those times where I would, miss open net, or like it's the game-winning opportunity I missed. Like all those thoughts and failures, some people nowadays, and we could blame society, we could blame a lot of things, but nowadays, people will take that loss and, oh, okay, now it's not for me. And they'll either switch industries, switch niches. They don't stick it out long enough to understand that that was actually the best thing that could have happened to you, because now you know how to, one, handle it going forward, but two, you know how to make those adjustments the next time around. So,
and so you actually being in the game, I think this is the idea. Being in the game is how you learn.
yeah.
That's my point here, everybody. Being in the game is how you learn. And getting the rejection over and over. And so it's the concept of failing forward. Right? So a lot of people think they're putting in the work, but they're really not. They're really thinking and planning and they're overthinking ideas. And what I realize is you take a lot of action over time, the thing starts to get more strategized. Okay. So I want to set that as the expectation and as the foundation of the mindset that is needed. Right? Because if you think about it, my 100th call, how I am on the 100th call is way better than the first call. But I had to do the first call. I had to do the 50th call to get to the 100th call. And so through the process of taking action, you will get better. Now, let's actually get into the strategy, okay? So the simplest way, now there's many different ways. I'm going to start from the beginning, and then I'll kind of give other examples. So if you're taking notes, be sure to take notes on this. So the first thing that I would recommend, and this is what we recommend to everybody in our coaching program, first thing you do is you get very clear on your offer. You get extremely clear. Who am I helping? Right? Who am I working with? Or who do I want to work with? Not who am I helping, but who do I want to work with? Who is my ideal customer? Who is my ideal avatar? So for example, when I first started, I said, I want to help people who want to overcome stuttering. Then I leveled it up to, I want to help professionals or really ambitious people who stutter and want to overcome it. And so I'm niching down. Because no, I do not want a client who is lazy. I want people who are ambitious, who are striving, who go, you know what? I want to take full responsibility of this. I want to become the next version of me. I'm not going to be like, well, my stutter is a disability and there's nothing I can do about it. I don't want to work with those people. Call me selfish, call me whatever you want. I can motivate as many people as possible, but if someone doesn't want to move, it's called dragging a dead horse. The horse doesn't want to go anywhere. Right? Just like when I build my team, if I have people on my team who are not movers, who are not ambitious, it's a problem because like, this is where I'm going. Do you want to come with me? And so you have to have the same idea with your own business and in your own direction. You are the captain of the ship. You are directing the ship. So this is who I'm talking to. Now, once you're very clear on that, don't even make the program yet. If you made the program, no problem, but don't even make the program yet. The next thing you're going to do, very simple, is you're going to stick to one platform. Take notes. You're going to stick to one freaking platform. The platform is going to be Facebook. Okay. If you're taking notes, write this line down. The man or the woman who tries to catch 3 rabbits catches none. The person who chases 3 rabbits catches none. The person who chases 1 rabbit catches 1. And so that's the point. Is if you're trying to build TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, podcast, Facebook, all these different platforms, you will especially if you're beginning, you have to make one platform work before you can apply any other formula to any other platform. Because what ends up happening is you do a half-assed job on every single platform. And none of them have depth. So if you notice with myself, I'm really doubling down on Facebook because I want to make it work. And so I do a Facebook group. I do a weekly call, right? I post on Facebook. I interact with people because now, do I have other platforms? 100%. Do I have a team to support me? 100%. But my focus is in 10 different platforms at once, all by myself. So if you're starting off, first thing I would do, double down on one platform. My recommendation is on Facebook. I cannot give you a strategy of something that didn't work for me. This is what I did. This is how I enrolled my first 6 beta clients. Now, once I knew exactly who I want to work with, sure, I did a bunch of free coaching, right? So depending on the phase that you're in, I didn't know anyone who stuttered. And so I had to go find people who stuttered. I'll show you how we do that, right? And I worked with them for free. Because if people are not willing to show up on a call with me for free, they will not pay for my help. And that's a big question I'd ask yourself. If people are not even showing up to work with you for free, how do you expect these people to pay you? And if you go, Daniel, I've already worked with a lot of people for free. Okay, great. Then you pass this phase. I'm talking to the other people. Second thing, next thing you want to do is think about it like this, you build a community of people. And you are the host of the community. Does that make sense, Dev? I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, it absolutely does. And, I'll just touch on one thing really quick because you talk about the imposter syndrome. And at the very beginning of Door to Door, like, trying to convince somebody to do business with you. I even think about that as well. Like, one core concept that we used to talk about is like, it's like a race to get to the first 500 doors. Right.
Yes.
So like whatever happens in those first 500 doors, it's like, if you get a sale, great. If not, like you're using those 500 doors, you kind of have to like remove that, oh, I'm burning through leads, or I'm missing these opportunities. Like if you're kind of going through that with that mindset, it's like you'll never be able to make the corrections to really start,
Are you talking about the Facebook group? Or are you talking about the concept we talked about a little bit back ago?
Just everything, like in general, really at the same time. Because even with the Facebook groups, right? Like when you're starting to chat with people or you're starting to do this, it's like if you're kind of going into it with the mindset of like, this has to be perfect, like I don't want to mess up this opportunity, then you know what I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure in the wrong way though.
Let me kind of go back to what I was talking about and this might tie into what Devyn's saying. So the idea is you want to build a community. And I think I gave this example to Devyn before. You build this house. Okay. So imagine you're building a house and on top of the house, there's a billboard that says your Facebook name. Okay. So for me, I built a house. It was called Overcoming Stuttering. And now the only people that are going to enter that house, think about this, because I think this is a really good example, are going to be people that want to learn how to overcome stuttering. So if you're a fitness coach, talk about fitness, whatever fitness name it is, they're entering because they want to learn about fitness for free. I want you to get this idea. If people don't want to learn from you for free, they will not pay you. So what is your job initially? Build up an audience of people that want to learn from you for free. If you can't even do that, no one will ever pay you. If you're a life coach, helping you find your purpose with blah, 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 right? If you're a cancer coach, helping you overcome cancer through mental and spiritual help, whatever the case is, right? And so you find these communities, but then you create the community. If you're a coach, you have to be a figure of authority. How do you become a figure of authority? You have an audience of people that follow you and want to learn from you. That's why eyeballs are the most expensive thing people will pay for. People, when Snapchat was going to get bought out by, I believe it was Facebook, right? Or Meta, they were going to give Snapchat $1 billion. Why? Not because of the application, but because of the eyeballs. You had X amount of users on that. And that's the most important thing. So you got to ask yourself, do I have eyeballs that follow me? And even if you just have friends and you're just kind of starting out, you do have people that follow you. But you have to bring it up a notch and naturally have people want to just follow you and learn from you. You have to become an authority in that niche. What's the easiest way to do that? Don't create a bunch of TikToks. Not yet. Create a Facebook group. And I'll tell you why, because the best asset you can build long-term. You don't have to build this complicated email automation sequence where you're collecting all these emails. Not yet. Go build a Facebook group. This is what I did, guys. I called it Overcoming Stuttering. Guess what I did? In that Facebook group, I went on live. In that Facebook group, I shared resources. In that Facebook group, I shared different concepts that was working for me. In that Facebook group, I said, hey, this is my client who I'm working for free. This is what they learned from this. And what you do is you start to build an audience of people that enter your home to learn for the subject that you're talking about. And then what's the goal? Once you build a house, you got the billboard on top of the house, you flood people in. Right? So there's a free version and a paid version. Like for example, Devyn, how many people does Nick have in his group on Facebook? He opened this a week ago.
He's got a good few. I'm pulling it up right now.
It's called Mastering Copywriting. Okay, so I'll pull it up right now.
Wow, 59 members.
Nick has 60 members in this group. See, there's 60 members, and he has a very similar billboard to me. We talked about this. Yeah. No more of that. But 60 people are in this Facebook group to learn from Nick. Okay, how to become a better copywriter. Now, I'll probably fix this title. This picture is blurry. I wouldn't recommend that. Sorry, Nick, I'm going to call you up, but he's new. Listen to this point. I'm saying this is blurry and he should change a couple of things, but he took the action. He has 60 people in his Facebook group. What's the worst case? He changes his cover photo. That's much better than saying, I need to have the perfect cover photo before I start my Facebook group. I got to have the perfect description before I start my Facebook group. You guys get this? Okay. So if we go to Nick, right, he has 60 members. Now he's posting videos. He's posting reels. People are now introducing themselves, right? And so he's creating a community of people. Now the people that are in there are learning from Nick copywriting. So we're entering Nick's house to understand how to become better at copywriting, whether you're a coach, a consultant, an entrepreneur, you run an FBA business, whatever the case is, doesn't matter. That's the idea. And the question is that I'm going to ask you, if you're watching this, is do you have a house people can walk into and learn from you for free? If you don't, how do you ever expect someone to pay you? That's how you build. Now, listen, my thing and why I doubled down on Facebook groups is because when I first started, I quit my job as a director, making multiple six figures. I had this quote unquote title of who I was. I didn't want to share with the world that I had a stuttering problem. And now I'm branding it. Now I'm becoming the stuttering guy. You know what I'm saying, guys? I didn't want to. So what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to build this Facebook group. I'm going to post as much as I want in there. And the only people that can see those posts are people that have to join the Facebook group. So you kind of keep it undercover because it's a private group. Does that make sense, guys? Devin, does that make sense too?
Absolutely.
And so this is the focus. See, Nick, what's really cool, and I'll kind of share a little win that Nick had. Master your coaching. So Nick actually, with his Facebook group, he started this on Monday, right? Nick actually booked his first call 3 days ago. And then he booked 2 calls 2 days ago. On this first day, he booked 2 calls with clients. He actually has booked more. But my point is, if you guys want leads, you have to build a house where people who are interested in that topic, see, look, if they're talking about copywriting and you have someone who's an athlete and doesn't even know what business marketing is, they're gonna have no interest joining. But now you create a football Facebook group where everyone has forums and conversations on the best football teams and who's going to win the Super Bowl. You know, it's the same concept. So you got to build a community, and Facebook groups are the best. And that's where you share your knowledge. You share it for free. Think about this. Listen to this. This is, I've told this, I don't know how many times, which is you have to make your free stuff so good that the person watching this goes, damn, this is really good. I wonder what his paid stuff is. You got to make your free. Now you go, how do I make free stuff? This is what I'm saying. You create the Facebook group and you add people. Now, what I do, the way I grow it, there's 2 different ways to grow it. So there's the paid way where you create a free guide, like a lead magnet. Okay. So what I used to do is, this is the paid version. I'll show you the paid version first. So I would run ads to a free guide. So I bought this name. We teach you how to do this within our program, so don't get overwhelmed. But download my free guide, and so they see an ad of me. I don't know, you might have seen my ad where I'm holding it up in the air. It looks like this. Let me kind of show you guys right now. Come on. Okay, are you guys learning? If you guys are learning, comment down below. So let me see if I can find it. So there was an ad of me. Come on, where is it? I know you're there. I know you're there. I know you're there. It's the picture of me holding my lead magnet. No, it's right, should be right here. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. If I can't find it in the next couple posts, then I'll close it. The deeper you go, the longer it takes. Pretty sure it's right here. But the point is, I had my lead magnet right there. Okay. So people used to see an ad of me with this picture right here. Okay. So it was me holding this free guide. And I would say, hey, you want to come learn the 5 steps to overcome stuttering? Great. Come join. So they would see my ad. They click on this ad. They show up on this page. They click name and email address. They go here. And then I'll send them my free guide to their email. And then they come join my Facebook group. So this is my first group on Facebook. So it was called Overcoming Stuttering. Now it's called Speaking with Confidence. People are even joining today. Crazy, right? So my point is, that was the first thing. The other point that I used to do is when I didn't have any money for ads, what I would do is I would go into other Facebook groups and I would ask people if they want to join my new Facebook group. Now you would say, Daniel, won't you get kicked out, or won't, people get upset with you? I've never gotten in trouble doing it. And I think there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I created a Facebook group. Do you want to come and join? Now, if you're going, hey, and you're talking to people who you don't know, and you're asking them to buy your stuff or purchase your stuff, I think that's the problem. But I think there's no problem with asking people if they want to come and join your Facebook group. You're offering free value. And so what I used to say here, let me close, or else the notifications are going to keep going off. What I used to say is, hey, I created this new group on Facebook where we share knowledge on speaking and confidence and blah, blah, blah. Would you want to come and join and check us out? No problem at all. And I grew that to 2,000 people, right? Through paid and through free. And so if you do that, what usually happens is they come and join the Facebook group. They learn from you. You build all this credibility, all this trust with people. And then normally what I do is, hey, if you enjoy this, why don't we just set up a call? Why don't we get to know each other? I'd love to hear more about your story. And then either you give them, first off, you give everyone as much value as possible, but then the cream will rise to the top, meaning that this goes back to door and what Devyn was probably saying too, which is if you talk to enough people, you will connect with a few people that are ready to want to work with you on a personal level. That doesn't mean everybody, but some of them will say, Daniel, you're exactly what I'm looking for. I'm so glad you added me to this Facebook group. I'm so grateful for your videos. I'm curious, what do you offer? You have to share what you offer with people, but I want you to keep that in mind. This is the easiest, the simplest thing. And you just double down on that. Questions on that? Devyn, I don't know if you want to add anything to that specifically, that whole process, building a Facebook group, getting someone in, building trust, and then booking calls from there.
The process in itself, the only thing I would want to add is it works. A lot of our clients, our current clients that are implementing this, again, Nick started his group last week. He already has 60 people in the group. So, building a following, getting in front of people, it's definitely working. And yeah, the process, if you don't have a group, definitely get a group, right? And I love that. It's all you want to do is nurture, right? You want people to know who you are, right? And the people that resonate with your message, yeah, they'll stand out. Hey, this really resonated with me. This really helped me do X. I'd love to, book a call to see what we can do for this specific problem, right? Or this specific issue. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think my whole point through this all is, guys, whenever I see this, I'm having trouble with leads. I'm having trouble with getting paid clients. What I see is someone who's trying to do different marketing strategies and not actually going deep onto one. And so what I'm saying is, if you're struggling with this, you have to choose one marketing strategy and that's it. And you make that shit work before you go anywhere else. And if you can't make it work, then it's a problem that probably you're not really seeing the whole picture. But if you can't make this strategy work, it's going to be very difficult to make any other strategy work. Right? You should have the foundation within your own life is I'm going to make one strategy work before I go jump into another strategy. So you don't try this for a week. Oh, I opened up a Facebook group. I added 30, 40 people and everyone didn't want to book a call with me. Completely wrong. See, my thought process, what I did is I brought in about 400 people to my Facebook group. Then I let people know about the offer that I'm doing. And because I built so much trust with people over weeks and months, people raised their hand and said, sure, I'd love to join. How do I pay? That's the idea, everybody. So my recommendation, whenever I see this, I'm having trouble with leads, I'm having trouble with getting clients, I'm having trouble with people paying me. Now, then you go a little bit deeper and people go, well, Daniel, I've had a couple of calls with people through this Facebook method, and people are saying they don't want to buy from me. And I would tell you, well, first off, what is your offer? And the second part is, have you talked to enough people? Right? So the strategy, you want to know the numbers, because life can be very chaotic when you don't know the numbers. So for example, door to door can be very overwhelming and chaotic when you don't know the numbers. You go, Daniel, I'm going to talk to 5 people. If they all say no, then this neighborhood sucks. People don't want to buy what I'm saying. We would laugh at that, right, Devyn? And so we would set the foundation of, look, right now, if you're brand new in sales, you're probably going to knock on 100 plus doors and hopefully you get one person to say yes to. If not, you got to keep doing it, because the more doors you knock to, the more people you talk to, your pitch will get better, your presentation will get better, your closing will get better. And so over time, you'd have to knock 100 doors and maybe you get 0 again and again and again and again and again. And then you will land on one person because you are actually better at what you're doing. And we've had people, obviously, they knock their first 15 doors, they make a sale, but I don't want to give that as the example. And so then you knock 100 doors and it makes you one sale. But then over time, you knock 50 doors and you make a sale. And then you get even better and you knock 25 doors, or you talk to 25 people and you make a sale. Then you talk to 10 people and you make a sale. And that's usually how it goes. Talk to 5 people and then you make a sale. I know people that will talk to 1 or 2 people and make a sale because they're so much better. So you got to keep that in mind, which is if you're going to go through this process, the ultimate goal is this. As the coach, whenever I consult coaches, I go, there's 2 questions I need you to answer. Last month or this month or last week or this week, how many book calls did you have and how many sales did you close? If you go, I don't know, or I had 0, I would say that is the problem. There's only 2 numbers that we look at building a coaching business. How many calls did you book and how many calls did you close? And so when you look at that concept, that's how I can judge if a coach is doing well or not, right? I have a mentor myself. I asked him, I said, how many book calls did you have last month? I had 150 book calls. 50 of them, whatever, let's say half of those. So out of the 50, some didn't show and some were not qualified. So we're left with 100 calls within a month, guys. 50 calls within a month. Again, you're not going to get there overnight, but I want you to understand the thought process. With those 100 calls, we're able to enroll over 20 people. So let's say it's a 20% closing rate. So what does that mean? That means for every 10 people they talk to, 2 of them signed up. So what does that mean? If you talk to 3 people and they all said no, because you don't have enough data, right? Again, going back to the perfect plan. Yes, part of the plan should be, I'm going to talk to 10 people and they're all going to say no to me because I need to go talk to 50 people to enroll 5. Well, Daniel, how do I book 50 calls? That's the conversation that we have. Not, no one's buying from me. If you go have 100 calls in a month and no one buys from you, now we got an issue. But guess what? That's probably not going to happen. How do you know that? Go book 100 calls, then come back to me. That's the problem, people. Well, Daniel, some of them are not qualified. Yeah, welcome to reality, dude. Welcome to reality. Welcome to growing a coaching business. Just like how you are not ready at times to buy something, you're going to meet other people who are not ready at times to buy something. Right? But again, we have this concept in our head where we want to talk to that one person and they buy. And guess what? You're setting up the wrong game. You're setting up the wrong foundations. The foundation, you go, Daniel, I want to make 30 grand this month. You know what, Daniel, I want to go for 10 grand this month. Okay. How much is your program cost? $2,500. Okay, cool. So what does that mean? You have to enroll 4 people this month. Okay. So if there's a 20% closing rate, that means if you have 20 calls, right? 4 to 20 is what? 20%. So therefore you have to have 20 calls with people. So 20 people have to show up and you will enroll 4 of them at 20%. And we go, you know what? Let's make it worse. Because right now you suck. Go book 40 calls and have a 10% closing rate because right now you suck. So for every 10 calls you have, 1 person will buy. And you'll make 10 grand. Damn, that's impossible. No, it isn't. This is the root cause, everybody. So you need to have a system where people are lining up to book calls with you. Right? And then listen, I've said the best of the best. This is all they do. They focus on these numbers. How many calls can we book this month? Knowing that a lot of them are not going to show, be disqualified, but then you find the gold within the dirt. That's what you're looking for, right? Think about it. When you're looking for gold, you get your little, whatever it's called, shaker,
sifter,
sifter, right? You have your sifter. You're sifting through dirt to find the gold. You don't just like pick it up and get a bunch of gold. No, you got to sift through this. You got to sift through the dirt. And so this is the thought process that you guys all need to have. And so the priority is, how do I better a process to get more book calls in the door? And once I master that, and I want to make more money, this is the first step. We can start building the company of like adding more products. But if you can't even sell this product, why do you think you will be able to sell anything else? If you can't make this marketing strategy, how do you expect to make anything else work? You guys get that? If you can't make one thing work, how do you expect anything else to work? Now, if you go, Daniel, I'm at 10 grand a month. I want to get to 40 or 50 grand a month. Well, you know the numbers. Go book 100 calls. 20 of them will close. What's your price point? 2,500. Okay. So 2,500, I'll give you a twofold answer. 2,500 times 20. You just made 50 grand. So go book 100 calls with a 20% closing rate. By the way, when you're good, you don't have a 20% closing rate. I'm going low ball right now, people. Right? You might have a 40 or 50% closing rate. Right? That is the game you're playing. You go, well, and then if you want to get even more, up your prices. Mm-hmm. Up it to 4,000. Because 4,000 at 20, now we're making $80,000 by a simple $1,500 increase. I don't know if people will pay for that. I remember having that thought process because, guys, I brought my pricing from 2,500 to 4,000 to 5,000 up to $7,500. I didn't really change much in my program, just changed the pricing. And one line that hit me really hard was, if someone's willing to pay 4,000, they're probably willing to pay 5,000. The thought process of like, if my prices are lower, I'm going to get more people. I've realized that I had to rewire my mindset like that. If someone's not willing to pay 5, they're probably not even willing to pay 3 or 2 or 2,500, because the person that really wants it bad enough is going to be like, well, because it's $2,000 more, I'm not going to pay for it. If they wanted it bad enough, they'd figure out a payment plan with you. So just say 5. Because that $2,500 person, maybe they can't pay for all 5 right now, but they'll put $2,500 down and break up the other payments of $1,000 until they pay it off. Would you want that? Yeah, exactly. That's my point, people. Dev, I don't know if we have any questions. I saw we had 5 or 6 people on live before. I don't know if we still have people on live right now.
We got 3 people on live. We do have a comment.
Nice.
Some from Mr. Armusha.
Yeah.
He said, my weakness is that I can't speak like you. I tried on Facebook groups, but I failed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is why, like, I talked to KB. It's the same idea with hiring a healing coach. People can try to heal on their own, but the reason why you're a healing coach is because you know that when they work with you at a personal level, they will better themselves. And so people can go, well, KB, I'll just learn how to heal on my own. I'll try to figure it by myself. And hopefully you're laughing at this right now, because you know that even when people try to heal on themselves, by themselves, they usually hit a brick wall. That's why they need the guru. That's why they need the master like yourself. And so, sure, you can keep watching these videos and try to figure out everything on your own. But, you know, I hate to always be the pitchy guy. And this is not meant to be a pitch or anything, but it's something that I really believe in. Like, you cannot do things by yourself. Well, Daniel, I'll never be as good as you. You're right. And I'll never be as good as you. But vice versa. You're not trying to be me. You're just trying to be a better version of yourself. Right. And so I've talked to KB, but healing, you can learn to watch healing stuff by yourself, but you should get to a point where you're like, all right, I want to hire someone to work with me. So that person can help me heal and show me the process of how to become a better communicator. I'm a communication coach. This is what I do. This is what I naturally do within my coaching calls. And so we could talk aside, but I hope that makes sense. That's why you get the help. That's why you get the infrastructure. And it's not even the communication. It's the tech. I tell this to everybody. I've been telling everybody about this, Dev, which is like, when people actually work with us, they're not just getting the strategy. They're actually getting the help from the technical level to get everything done. Like Devyn will help people create their Facebook cover photo, the description, the technology, help them create accounts, whether it's on ClickFunnels or Zoom or count. Like it's not just that one thing. It's a mix of everything. And so, yeah, like you can try to figure this out by yourself, but you have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And if you have a weakness, that's why you get the help. If you go, no, Daniel, just give me the information. I'll just do everything on my own, and you kick ass. I hope that happens. I hope you guys get this. I share everything with you because I'm looking for that one person who goes, Daniel, I have no money, but I followed every single step that you're saying, and now I'm making 50 grand a month. I hope. I'm begging for that day right now. Now, the chances of that are usually not that high. Because I know myself, even with all the training and everything that I learned, I knew I had to get help sooner or later. And so again, this is not meant to be a pitch. This is just like a foundational principle within me, which is if I don't know something, I'm going to go pay someone to show me how to do it. Because I know that is worth the investment. And so, yeah. And so, yes, I'm hoping I got that one person who's like, no, Daniel, I'm not going to pay you a single cent. I'm going to do everything on your own, exactly what you do. And I'm hoping that, in a couple months or a couple weeks or whatever, a couple of years, look at the empire that I've built all from your free knowledge. I hope. But that's it, right? Again, you have to pay with time or money, right? So when you don't want to join something, sure, you just pay with your time. And that's totally fine. Sometimes when you're flat broke, this is what you got to fucking do. That's what I did. I figured it out. Then I kind of hit a brick wall and then I had to, whatever. I figured it out though. The point is, do you have commitment to the journey? If you have commitment to the journey, you'll always figure it out. If you're half 1 foot in, 1 foot out from the journey, then yes, you will find excuses for it to not work. But I always give the examples. If you had a gun to your head and you had to make your coaching business work, or we will kill everyone you love, would you figure out the coaching business? Yes. You had 6 months. Okay. You had 6 months to build a 25 grand a month coaching business. You had a gun to your head and someone went to you and said, if you don't figure this out based on the resources you have right now, we will kill everyone in your family. Would you figure it out? Of course you would. No, I don't know, man. Let me get back to you on that. It's Christmas, right? So tough time of the year, man. No, you're not. I don't know, man. It's recession. It's pretty tough out there. Oh, I just, you know what? I got my bills coming up and no, you're going to put your back against the wall and figure it out. And so what I'm saying is you don't have that gun to your head, right? That'd be pretty messed up. But you got to put yourself where you have your back against the wall and you have no other option. And that's why it's not about a money, a time issue, an energy thing. It's a commitment issue. How committed are you to this journey about growing this business? If you go, it doesn't matter if I do it or not, then you will never build something. See, when I show up onto this is do or die for me. This is do or die. And so that's how I fucking operate. This not working is not an option. That's why I work with urgency. I have a sense of vision. I'm willing to go into debt. I'm willing to and not even that, I'm willing to take the big chances that others are not willing to make. Because losing is not an option. You go, Dale, that's very obsessive. Yeah. Sometimes you got to be really obsessed. And when I see coaches who are half-assed, half in this game, I go, you're not committed to the game. It's like going back to ballers. These football players, football is their life. And so, yes, part-time income or a side hustle. You ask me, I don't think that works. Unless you're setting it up in a way of where you're going to quit your full-time gig, you're going all in on this hustle. And when you make enough money, you can quit your full-time, that's fine. But like the idea of having multiple sources of income everywhere, I don't see it working. like the same idea with having too many marketing strategies, the same idea with having too many, products. It's like, it's scattered. And so you have to make one thing work. And so to me, if you're committed to this game, you're committed. And so that is the question you got to ask yourself. Once you are fully committed, then you got to find a strategy and double down on it. I'm speaking from experience. That's what I did. I wish I could tell you about other people and where they've done 7 different marketing strategies and they all worked out overnight. I wish that was the case. I wish it was like, nah, man, I kind of did this coaching thing on the side and I kind of like spent a couple hours on it and now we're making 40 grand a month. I don't know. I wish I could find that person. But most people that I find, it's a do or die situation. Either I do this or I fucking die. I do this. Sorry, it's not I die. It's there's no option of this not working out. Just like I got my back against the wall and I got 6 months to build my coaching business or everyone's going to get killed who I love. It sounds crazy, but that is you talk to anyone who's super successful. This is how they think. And when I talk to people and they want to make like Daniel, I want to make 40, 50 grand a month. Well, your commitment says otherwise. I want to make 10 grand a month. What's the percentage of people who even make 6 figures, right? Because 10 grand a month is 120 grand a year. What's the percentage of people who make over 100 grand a year? What's the percentage of business owners who make over 100 grand a year? And you want to do it with a half-ass commitment? That's the problem. So, about 2 cents for you, Dev. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but I apologize if I offended anybody, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
No, it's absolutely fine. And just the line there, it's like, diluted focus equals diluted results. Right? Like if you're focusing on a lot of things, trying to make everything work at the same time, that's oftentimes why not a lot of things work. And nowadays, yeah, it's like I think right now we're living in a time where everything is so almost easy. We're living in such an accessible time, almost in an instant gratification world where, if I want to answer to something, I can look it up on Google. So at some level, people expect results in the same manner, but it's different when, you're getting a $5, purchase or a $5 something with no significance to something that has some significance where it's like a high ticket, high value offer.
Well, look at school, look at education. What do people pay for 4 years of university or college?
Right.
That's a big commitment, right? So it's like, it's the same type of thought process of you take it very seriously. We all know that when you get something, like it's like getting married. You buy the ring. You don't buy a lollipop or a ring pop for 25 cents. Be like, do you want to marry me? No, you get committed. You go all in. And so I think it's never a money issue or a time issue or a resource issue. To me, I just see it as a commitment issue. I think once you realize that you're committed to this journey and you're willing and you've burnt the boats and there's no going back to who you were before, that's how I operate. Then there's a sense of urgency. Devyn, you've worked with me for the last, whatever it's been within this coaching company. Would you say I have a pretty huge, not huge, but like my sense of urgency is usually on point for the most part. I don't stop.
Even on weekends.
Yeah.
I don't stop. For people that don't know, right? Like you're always thinking about it. Hey, how can we improve this? Hey, how can we implement this?
Always.
Hey, I just thought about this. Hey, I just seen this. I want to start doing this. All you're doing. It's all we are. It's all what we do.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like I don't think people understand what is needed. And I wish to sugarcoat it. But when you have that type of commitment to it, that's when things work out. It's like God, the universe is testing you to see how much do you really deserve this? So that's all I'm going to say, people. If you have any questions, you can comment down below. But I think this was a great call. And I hope you guys learned a couple of things. Any last words from you, Mr. Devster?
No, I think this was a great call. This is a great strategy. And again, just to reiterate, right? Like everybody here that's listening to this, you guys need to pick a niche. You need to pick, something. Right. And then once you have that, like you start building your home, you start building that community, whatever that looks like. right? Like you need to start getting people in front of you, and you need to start seeing that people are, willing to, even hop on and get some free information. If they're not, then you need to change some, internal beliefs that you've kind of limited yourself.
Yep.
But once you do that, yeah, it's a numbers game, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I love this. Hope you guys got some value out of this. Realize that choose one marketing strategy. I would definitely go down the Facebook group, create that little house, create that little community, get committed to the game, and realize that if you can't get people to learn from your stuff for free, don't expect them to ever pay you. And when you fix that problem, you will go, like we just had our client, Matt and David, go from 0 to 15 grand or 13 grand or whatever the number is in a very short period. So guys, love you all. Watch this a second time if you want to digest this stuff. And if you have any questions, you can message me on Facebook. Peace.